Today's topic is setting yourself up for success in quarter four. And so this is all about how I go through and make goals for each quarter. So I've been talking a lot about setting impossible goals lately, and I've gotten a lot of questions on how to decide what goal to achieve. And then how do you just keep motivated to achieving that? So that is what I'm going to describe for you today. Many people have, reached out and had a lot of questions about this, about some people have so many goals that they want to achieve and they don't know which one to choose. Or they try to achieve a lot of them and that they end up not accomplishing many at all. And other people say that they just freeze. They're not really able to think of a goal that they really want to achieve. They think they have to pick the right goal. And when they pick that goal, they say they can't change their mind. And that's not necessarily the case. So, in starting to decide on which goal to achieve, to me, there's three places to start. One is with your purpose statement. And if you don't have one, that's okay. Because the next one, another area to start is to look at the different areas of your life. So that could be your health, your relationships, your work, your finances, what you do for fun, your self-care. Those are what I'm talking about in the areas of your life. And there's also just asking yourself some questions, some really good questions to ponder. So, like I said, your purpose statement is one place to start. If you don't have one, use the areas of your life or ask yourself some targeted questions. But developing your purpose statement or your guide work takes some time and reflection that we're not really going to go through today. That could be for another time. If you want that, just reach out to me and say, hey, I want to know how to develop a purpose statement. And I will do that. I did a segment on that. So your purpose statement is really personal to you. Brendan Bouchard, if you follow him, he talks about his in three words: live, love, matter. Now, if you can get it that simple, that's great. I haven't quite got there yet. My purpose statement is to have time and financial freedom, to be able to live fully and freely, creating memorable moments and deep connections with family while sharing what I learned to positively impact the world. The second place to start in deciding what goals to set can be found in the different areas of your life, like I talked about: health, relationships, work, finances, fun, recreation, self-care. You have a variety of different areas in your life that you could focus on improving. So the third place to start is in deciding on goals is asking yourself some targeted questions. These can be used to help in digging into specific areas of your life or just general questions to ask yourself. So some questions could include, what is your dream for your life? So what is my dream? What is my dream for my life? What do I want my life to look like? A year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What do I want to have or do when I retire? How do I want my family to interact? What kind of relationships do I want to have with my kids, my spouse, my extended family, friends? What does that look like? What kind of life do I really want to have? What would you really like to improve? Maybe about your health or your work situation or your finances. Remember, these are questions to jumpstart, like, what do you want out of your life? And that's the kind of the targeted questions that goals come from. Like, what do I want my life to look like? Your goals come from those answers. But maybe you have a passion or a cause that you're drawn to, something bigger in the community or the world that you want to leave an impact or a legacy. So another way to look at that is, what do you want to leave behind? What do you want people to remember you by? Maybe that is a goal or a dream that comes from that question? If this is an area of your life that was the best it could be, so you think about maybe your health or your finances, your relationships, if this part of my life was the best that it could be, what would that look like? So you're creating this vision of what you see yourself doing, looking like, having, interacting with others. This is your grand vision of you when you are living fully and freely. What is your big dream, your desire, your hope? What do you wish for out of your life? So you can ask these questions to yourself to kind of dig in and say, and those are where the dreams, the goals come from. And when you have that idea, write them down. And setting these goals starts with this big picture view of how you really want to feel, what you want to do, and how you want to interact with others. This is your grand vision for your life. This is what you really want. So this is the first step. The next step in deciding on a goal is you have all of these areas and you have all these thoughts now. And now we have to narrow it down. So you start with the big picture and now we're narrowing it down. We need to pick one goal, no more than three, but for this exercise and for this, just pick one. Pick one to start with. Pick one that is the most important to you right now. The one that excites you the most, that you really want to do, or one that you really know you need to do it, that you have this feeling that, you know what, enough is enough. Like, I'm going to do something about this right now. Like, the time is now for me to do this. Okay, so think about narrowing down your grand vision and focusing on one. Pick one area of your life. Pick, whether it's health, finances. Usually your goals, your big vision of impacts many different areas of your life. But for this, narrow it down. Start on one. Pick one that is the most important to you right now. And it could also be one that if you make changes in this one area of your life, it's going to roll over and have a ripple effect in the other areas of your life. So maybe that's the biggest one. Maybe it's the one that, you know what, you're so motivated to change at this point. That's where you start. So maybe if your grand vision is someday I'm going to travel the world, or someday I'm going to write a book, and someday I want to get off blood pressure medication or diabetic medication. Sometimes that someday seems so far off. So you have to break it down into smaller chunks and limit to like maybe one for now. Dr. Benjamin Hardy talks about his goal of getting a 6-figure book deal. And his first step was start to write. He wasn't writing before, but he wanted to have a 6-figure book deal. His first step, writing. He had to have a goal of daily to write so many words each day. Just the process of getting started writing. A book is never going to get done if you don't start writing. So his first step was writing so many words a day. And then he started writing blogs on medium.com. He invested in mentorship to improve his writing and learn how to submit scripts to publishing companies. And he eventually achieved his goal. But you have to start somewhere. You have your grand vision of your goal and you're narrowing it down to one aspect. Now, take that goal and make it impossible. I talk about this in other trainings. You make an impossible goal by making it bigger or reducing the time frame in which you want to complete it. So as you're doing that, then that kind of narrows the focus. It really condenses the avenues in which it's going to work to achieve your goal. Instead of having so many different ways to achieve this goal, like for instance, if you had a health goal and you wanted to lose or release, 10 to 20 pounds, there are so many reasons, so many ways for that to happen. so many different diet, exercise, all sorts of different, um, you know, different ways in order to lose 10 to 20 pounds. But if you wanted to make that bigger, if you wanted to, make that goal 50 pounds, if you had 50 pounds to lose, or if you wanted to shorten the time frame, like instead of, by the end of the year, you wanted it in 6 months or 3 months, that makes it a little bit more impossible, but yet it streamlines the actions you need to take. It just weeds out a lot of different things that aren't going to work in order for you to achieve your goal. I like to set goals about 90 days out because I have a tendency to kind of lose that focus. If someday I'm going to do this, or by the end of the year, I'm going to do this, if we give ourselves that much time, we I don't know about you, but I usually just delay starting until it's like the absolute deadline and it's really hard to meet. And then I get discouraged. So I like to set goals that are about 90 days out to just kind of keep me focused and motivated. And yes, I have those bigger dreams, that bigger vision of what I want to achieve in 3 years, but I really focus on this narrow time frame so that I can see that I am making progress towards it. So just like Dr. Benjamin Hardy, the first thing he had to do is to start writing. So that was at the beginning. It might have been a 3-year goal for him to achieve getting a 6-figure book deal. Maybe it was 5 years, not sure of his time frame, but he had to take the first step. So what is the first next step that you need to take in order to move yourself forward in achieving this goal? For me, it's breaking it down to a 90-day goal and then taking that goal, 90-day goal, and really what would that success look like at the end of 90 days? In order for me to get to this next milestone of achieving my bigger goal, what would I need to do in the next 90 days to say, yes, I'm on that path? What is the first next step you need to take to make that goal a reality? So you brainstorm that and you choose what it is that you're going to your first step that you're going to take. Then you commit daily. You commit daily to reminding yourself of the bigger goal and the 90-day goal. Constantly keeping that in your front of mind, keeping it in your conscious, and then committing to the little actions each and every day that's going to move you closer to that. It's going to move you up the mountain to achieving that goal. At the end of each day, you reflect and see what worked and what didn't work, your wins, what you learned about yourself and about the process, and you plan the actions for the next day. So if you were Benjamin Hardy at that point and you were starting to write, and the goal was to write 1,000 words or 2,000 words a day, did I do that? Did I not do that? What worked? What didn't work? What worked? Maybe you focus getting into, a quiet space. That worked. Maybe what didn't work was putting it off to the end of the day. You evaluate, you commit to an action, and then you reflect and evaluate what worked, what didn't work, and you plan the actions for the next day while that is fresh in your mind. You do this every day of the week. Pick an action, choose it, do it, reflect. Did you do it or not? Did it work? Did it not work? Plan the actions for the next day. And then you reflect at the end of the week. Again, on your goal, on your bigger goal, on your 90-day goals, your weekly goal, your monthly goal. Reflect on the progress you've made, the wins that you've had, what you've learned, and plan next week's actions, next week's goal. What is the next step that I'm going to need to do to move me closer to achieving my 90-day goal? Do that each and every day. This is about repetition. This is about making small habits of doing small actions each and every day that accumulate into something bigger. Sometimes we only need to take 15 minutes, for our goal and actions each day, but that 15 minutes is going to get us closer. If we can take 30 minutes, if we can take an hour to work towards our goal or more, that's the faster you're going to get to achieve your goal, and you can make your goal bigger. So do this each and every month, and at the end of the 90 days, you'll see how much closer you are to achieving your grand vision. And then you could just repeat the process by setting new 90-day goals. So as a recap, you start with your big picture and you break it down into milestones, quarterly goals, monthly milestones, monthly goals, weekly goals, and daily actions. And you're reflecting every day on your goal, keeping that big vision of what you want top of mind and why it is important for you to achieve this goal. And then you reflect on the actions that you took. Are they moving you forward? What worked? What didn't work? What do you need to do more of? And what do you need to do less of? And celebrate each and every day your progress along the way, your wins, and you will be amazed at what you have achieved. So reach out if you want help making your next quarter 10x better and 10x closer to your big vision goal.